And for the stock of the day, I thought we'd take a closer look at nickel mines. It has entered a trading pause after a 23% plunge in this morning's session. It comes after the LME suspended nickel trade until Friday, given an unprecedented surge in the price of the commodity. It doubled from $50,000 to $100,000 a ton in just a matter of hours. Worth noting that Russia is a key nickel producer. And of course, it was a short squeeze that really saw things unwind through the overnight session. So what do our experts think about nickel mines, the company, and I suppose in that some of the astounding moves in commodity prices across the globe? Andrew, I'll start with you for nickel mines. Pig iron nickel, it's used in stainless steel.
Yeah, and you're quite right. This whole commodities complex is just going off the charts. If I can start rolling out some cliches early, 14-year highs last week, and certainly not drawing breath. We saw, as an example, Peabody overseas, the coal miner. Its shares intraday yesterday down 27% after it was disclosed they had to make a $500 million margin call payment relating to some of the hedging strategies they had in place relating to coal. So we don't have a lot of information about nickel mines at the moment, but noting some of the other nickel players aren't suspended and aren't moving around as much, it sort of makes you wonder, is that potentially what's going on with nickel? We'll only find out in the course of time, of course. But interesting to note with nickel mines, prior to their suspension, 17 times the daily volume going through, which is pretty mind-blowing sort of stuff. So to Rudi's point before, certainly plenty of speculators and wannabe trend followers trying to find something to jump on or off, as it would be in this case. But I mean, Koshi's question, would you buy it? Well, we can't, of course. It's suspended at the moment, but I would just be incredibly cautious in anything in that commodity space, in particular things that have doubled over 3 days and margin calls, etc. It certainly shows the system under duress, and I'd probably be just standing aside with a case of popcorn, watching with interest.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because it's also got a partnership with Tsingshan, which is one of the Chinese companies that has been mentioned in terms of a potential margin call coming through there. Fundamentally, though, Rudi, if I look on FN Arena, the brokers have liked this one. Accumulate from Ord Minnett, outperform from Macquarie, Credit Suisse has got an outperform, and Citi's got a buy on the stock. What do you think of nickel mines? Or is it, again, just too much of a dangerous time right now to be looking at it, considering it?
Well, things like nickel mines, it is a little bit of a strange beast. I mean, it operates in Indonesia. It has a very close relationship with steel manufacturers in China, and it produces predominantly nickel pig iron, as Andrew pointed out, which is essentially a cheap alternative to the pure nickel. Having said so, this company has, if everything goes correctly and according to plan, has a big increase in annual volumes ahead of itself, and if everything goes to plan over the next 3 years, it will enter the top 10 of global nickel producers in the world. Now, why am I a little bit cautious, as Andrew, of course, as well, is that if you're not adjusted to the typical volatility and to the typical characteristics of having commodities in your portfolio, that this probably is not really a good idea to jump on board here. Having said so, if you have the right profile for that, then I mean, you could take a punt on this company, absolutely, for sure, because and of course we don't know yet what the reason is for the exact trading hold. But if assuming that is simply related to the LME in London and not to the company specific, then I mean the increase in volume for the years ahead should ultimately end up with a higher share price, all else being equal. Now, having said so, commodities are never that simple, of course, and you see that today. Small companies, small changes in details make a big impact on the share price. So I would caution that this is only for investors who know what they're doing and have a high appetite for risk.
Okay, risky proposition is a takeaway from that.